He has been a director at Delivery, India's largest logistics and supply chain company. How was it? Like,
with very less resources was sort of like very challenging.
you would have gone through a lot of hard work, and what you are building right now.
What we are really building right now is the platform layer that powers how business use QR codes meaningfully,
What are the use cases for this that you are solving for right now?
allows you to enter from a physical to a digital world.
I think one of the major challenges that whenever I speak to founders, if in hiring the tech folks,
People don't give a lot of weightage, but I think the culture is actually the most important thing in the entire hiring process.
now when people have so many options of AI for content to marketing to sales, like for everything right now they have AIs, but just to use it wisely in a manner that actually helps us do more with what we have right now. What are you planning to do next?
I think
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pivot Point with Usha. Today we have Akash. Akash, who's currently building UniQode. It has 75,000 users worldwide, and he has been a senior director at Delivery. And I think everyone has heard of it. It's India's largest logistics and supply chain company. Other than that, he has also been a part of Atlan as their senior director. He's actually a person whom I know that he's always on the edge of, be it AI or whatever is the current technology or tech stacks coming up. He's always at the top of it. So let's try to understand his journey into building some of the biggest platforms with over 1 billion revenue. So, welcome, Akash.
thank you, thanks Usha, thanks for this welcome.
Thanks. Great. We'll start with what you are building right now, because I think that is the most interesting part for everyone on at Unicode. What you are building right now.
Absolutely. Sure. So if I zoom out a bit, and what we are really building right now is the platform layer that powers how business use QR codes meaningfully. Um, and most people think like, usually the QR codes are static. I mean, in India, I think it's been used very often, especially for the payments.
Yeah.
You print it, someone scans it, and that is it, right? But at a scale that completely breaks down because the customer struggle with reliability, with understanding the performance of their campaigns if they are running, for example, like QR code can also be used to run some marketing campaigns and so on and so forth. And if they keep it static, they will not get those insights which that actually help in improving their business. Also like they want to ensure that all the security and most importantly like knowing what to do next is the key thing. Usually like as a problem statement exists in the QR world. And so my focus at Unicode is on building strong platform and data foundations and layering AI on top of it. The goal is simple: help customer move from just generating QR code to making better decisions using them, and that too without increasing the complexity. And that can be done through dynamic QR codes. That's what like the Unicode is offering, and that's what we are trying to solve at this moment.
So you spoke about dynamic QR codes.
Mhm.
Right now, as anyone else is using QR codes specifically for payments, but other places for, let's say, registering somewhere, it has become a lot more easier to just, people used to put all the links back then. And even with marketing posters, it has become very usable. But when you see dynamic QR code, what are the some real case studies or use cases for this that you are solving for right now?
Sure. So first and foremost, I think the QR code which solves, if you see, like it allows you to enter from a physical to a digital world, and that too through this a specific like a 01 sort of like there is a specific coding being used to generate a QR code. There's a great videos around that all over the internet, like how you can generate a QR code. But there are few challenges which usually exist with QR codes is like they are very static. So even if you like you need to change something in like a UTM parameter or to understand like how their campaigns or how their things are running, they cannot keep on modifying the link all over again and then again generate a QR code because QR code for a specific text or a link remains static. Um,
Right.
so what we did over here is like we ensured that okay we don't allow users to keep changing their QR codes all over again and what we are doing is like we are having one redirection in between which is through that like the QR redirects to a specific link which the user can customize. And this can even span across different type of QR codes if they want to create, whether they want to open up a form or they the best example I can think of like maybe usually people go to public conferences and if the event organizer really want to understand like how the event is actually working out for them,
Yeah.
they can start with a QR code from their entry point, get the details of a user who's entering into it, into the event. After that, like which particular conferences they are interested in opting, they can subscribe to that. Again, through form QR, through the QR codes which are required for them to fill up some specific details. And then after that, like if once the event ends, they really want to collect the feedback of the users, and they can even again provide a QR code to help them fill the feedback. And that too, like if they want like who actually filled that QR code, um, and check that if the user was actually there at that moment or not. They even you can specify like turn on the GPS and something like that to understand like the location from where they're filling the details are actually the correct or not. So all in all, like this entire journey of like engaging a user with the digital world is being captured, tracked, and that help provide insights to our customers who are using that. And accordingly, like they plan the events better. I just took one example, like planning an event, but similarly, like it can span across multiple use cases in different domains.
Okay, that's really interesting actually, like how much data that you said can be just captured into a QR code and can be used later on by the organizers or whosoever is putting that QR code out. And because like from a person's viewpoint, right, I would always see that QR codes are it's a very simple and normal thing, and what more can come out of it? So what actually, how did you identify that this is something that has got so much potential that you want to actually solve it?
I was, literally dreaming about solving using QR codes to solve a specific challenge in the industry, which is more around avoiding counterfeiting. And that's actually triggered an idea about how QR code can be leveraged, used. Uh, and then that's where like I started studying about the QR industry, and it opened up like anything. It can solve multiple use cases. Just doubling down on the use case which I thought of, like again on the counterfeiting side of things. For example, if someone is ordering a Nike shoe, how they, I mean, from a marketplace, like there are multiple marketplace people do often order, but how they can ensure that the shoe that they receive is actually original or not. And to do that, like I think the embedded QR codes can help in solving these challenges where um, it gets stamped by the company itself. And as soon as like whoever scans in the system, all the information is being tracked throughout, very similar to like a decentralized or like a Web3 sort of a use case,
Yeah.
and capture all the details on the fly so that the next scan is going to happen if someone copies it, like that okay, it's actually leaked, it's been scanned from a different location, or maybe it's been continuously getting scanned even after getting invoiced. So that actually triggered the idea. And when I studied this entire domain, uh, even if you see like a milk package, people use QR codes to identify like what exactly the batch number to provide that authenticity, the time of packaging of the product, and so on and so forth. So it's there in some shape and form. But if you connect all the dots together, I think there are various use cases that you can solve. So that actually inspired me a lot in going and solving the QR specific challenges, and that's where I landed to Unicode. I think luckily over here I'm getting a lot of chances, experiment things, and the team is amazing here.
Great. And so when did it actually, like, obviously this is a great reason to be, curious and get started, and that's how such solutions are being built, because a lot of people don't see a lot of potential in it, but then a lot of people actually does. And when they research about it, more about it, then they actually get to know that so many things can be done with it, which you did. So were you in delivery that time when you had this idea, or when was it that you thought, this is something that you would like to solve?
Yeah, I think it was brewing from last 4 or 5 years in my head, but it was not that matured enough to go and execute, and I just kept thinking about it. It started definitely in delivery where I was thinking a bit about that, but I haven't gone deep into it. Though I was like really inspired to solve the data challenges at that moment. Joined a company where they were actually in B2B SaaS space, especially in the data domain. And
Mm.
I was focused on solving some data challenges over there. While I was there, I also realized like, okay, this QR economy is also booming and it's gaining one YouTube video of Veritasium, like which is very common. Like, I mean, it's has a lot of subscribers, and I saw one video around like how a QR code can be constructed. And trust me, like it blew my mind in terms of like what how the QR code is actually originated and what power it contains and how we can leverage. And that's where talking to one of my friend who joined Unicode very recently, bounced some ideas with him. He ran me through with some of his ideas, and then later I realized like, okay, this is the real problem, especially in terms of like people who are using it on ground. I think you can really see the value and accordingly like solutionize so that you get motivated by I mean the problems which you solve for for the customers or the users, and that actually helped me thinking about like um, you know this is the next big thing to do. So yeah, I think that's the uh, thought process that I had, and that's how I landed.
Interesting. And like, I know that you have been a director of technology at Delivery, and then director at Atlan as well. So how was it? Like, was it scary when you thought about leaving? And I know that obviously at this position people are paid really well, so just leaving that kind of money on table and then planning to build something of your own.
Honestly, like when I was in delivery, I was so deep into the data domain, and trust me, like I like so deep at that moment, like I was thinking about scale, and I was also feeling the pain of like the people who are actually in that similar scale and how they can solve the similar problem which exists in other companies and so on and so forth. And that's where I studied a lot in terms of like I opened a few some researches, read through some papers, and I realized like the power of data can only be unlocked if you think of democratizing it. It cannot be like sitting centrally to a specific team which can help answer your all the questions.
Yeah.
It needs to be democratized, and that's where I st learned about a concept called as data mesh, and and that's where like I realized, okay, this is actually a big problem, and not many organizations have solved this at a scale. So uh, while working on that, luckily I ended up company where they were also trying to solve the similar problem statements, and the things connected. I think I decided, okay, let me pursue and do more about it. So that's where I joined Atlan and leading the data mesh initiative over there with one of my product counterpart, and And I think over there, I think things were really being observed at a from a lens of like what how other customers are also facing the similar challenge. So you get a lot of ideas, inputs, feedback from those users, and accordingly you you introduce things because sometimes your biases kicks in and you end up creating something which may not be used by all of the other companies, but at the same time, like the customer feedback matters a lot, and you that's how you keep iterating, fail fast, and then keep developing things much quicker. So that's what I I did in Atlan, and yeah, I think that's pretty much over there.
And when you wanted to, switch to your own Unicode, did people come and tell you that we really need you? You are actually solving problems at such high level that people would not let you go, even if you asked to. So how did you actually, manage all those?
Yeah, I think it was a tough move, and I was very clear about um, when I was actually transitioning to Unicode. One thing I was very clear about what I'm going to do now, from now, and how what is the state, I would say like the current state, and accordingly like figure out, uh, and in fact help people as well, like if they're asking like why you're actually making this move.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong in terms of like when I was there in Atlan, to be very honest. I think things were really great, smooth. um, and I clearly told like I'm inspired by a vision which was really cooking in my head from 4 or 5 years, and I thought like let me just go and solve. So honestly, like I think that was a very clear thing, and at the same time, like how AI can combine the, or maybe I would say like how AI can further improve the experience of QR. And at the same time, like I think I learned the AI most during that phase only, where before joining Unicode, where I was actually trying to learn how AI can improve the the QR workflows, and so on and so forth. So that's where I started focusing more and very clear about like telling people that okay, this is the idea. That's how I'm driven and motivated. Um, and so one thing which I always say to people is like you should be clear about what you are planning to do. I have seen like people take multiple offers, which is also great because it actually tells you like what what is your capability, but at the same time like um, answering what not to do is also important because you can do multiple things, but at the same time like what not to do is also important. So focus helps in bringing attention and as well as like provide you a direction to further go deep and work passionately about whatever you are planning to work. So I think that's the key thing which I think the engineers, product managers, and other people who are in the similar domain they should know while transitioning from one to another.
Absolutely. And that is really important also because somewhere people just start taking advantage. Like, I think I would speak from the table where we need to hire a lot of developers, and a lot of times we are just talking about the packages, and there is nothing more about uh, what the person is about, what the role is about. It's all about, sometimes it's all about just the numbers, like how much is someone offering, and that is it. So that cannot be the obviously the only decision making factor in someone's mind, right?
Yeah, I think numbers are just proxies. I think once you go over there, I think the work that you're going to do is the key thing. And if you're not focused or if you're not clear about what you're going to do, I think that will impact everything, including your numbers going forward. So
Yeah.
be clear about what you are thinking and planning to do so.
Yeah, and I think one of the major challenges that whenever I speak to founders, if even if they are building something, they are not. technical, or even if they are from tech background, they they face major challenges in hiring the tech folks. And at your level, and specifically the most difficult one is, the hiring right people, because they would be at the management level with working along with you. So how do you hire those people right?
I think is super important is the culture. People don't give a lot of weightage, but I think the culture is actually the key, or I would say the most important thing in the entire hiring process when you are onboarding someone. Because that's something which you cannot teach, or maybe someone who's actually joining the company, you cannot just like someone cannot just change the way of working, or maybe how they're actually responding, how much ethical they are in their work, and so on and so forth. So I think the culture plays a very important role. The rest of the things are something which you can learn. I think that's something which anyone can go through some courses, learn, and those sort of things. I think it's very much possible. And in fact, in the face of generative AI, I think it's. I think anyone can do anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think the culture is the key, and value it by aligning your principles as well as the company principles. You'll not be able to align 100%, but I think the better the alignment happens, I think the you will also be more attached to the company. You'll be passionate about solving things. I think that's will driven automatically. I think you don't need a motivation or like a motivational speech every single day to do those, but I think you'll be self-driven, self-motivated to do those things.
Yeah, and like talking about the leadership styles, I have seen people in your team working with you, and you would be approachable, yet friendly. So how do you, build that kind of aura where you're approachable, but still people look at you when they need help?
I know, like because I mean the space was same, so I can understand. I think it happens naturally with me because I'm a very curious person. Like even if it is like a 2-year-old baby is asking something, and if I'm not aware of, I'll be super curious, like how it's been done. So I'll try to connect with that person, even with that 2-year baby in some sign language in case if they are unable to speak, but try to understand like what exactly they are trying to solve or what they are trying to ask. And that's where like it help in starting the conversation at least to understand that person as well. So I think that happened naturally whenever I spoke to anyone, and trust me, like that actually helped me in grooming myself as well, if I'm not aware of anything. So always open to learn, I think, and always be curious. I think that helped me connecting people very well. And people also feel very open because they also know that, okay, whatever I'm telling them or whatever they are telling me, we are able to connect, understand. So it's not something that not valuing their opinion or not valuing their thought process. I think is not something which I never do that. So respect everyone's opinion is the key, and as well as like providing direction, helping them, even if it is like a small work to do.
Yeah.
That's something which I'm always open. So that actually helped me uh, building this sort of a connect with people.
Yeah, I mean, you have been really respectful to even people who would just join in your team. So that is one thing I think that really motivated everyone in the team to just, keep working, helping each other, because that's what you used to do, right? So that I really appreciate on how you actually do, and there is so much to learn for others who are just observing. So another thing, interesting to know your, the whole journey that actually right now, have taken you to being, a founder, director, but where actually you started.
So when I was in a I think in a e-commerce company, I'm not sure like not many people aware of. Like Jabong was a company where I was actually, focusing more on the competitive intelligence part of it. Later, Jabong got acquired by Myntra. But I think even before that, like it's back in 2014 when I was actually doing these things, and I realized, trust me, like at that moment, I was unaware of like what I'll do next. I think few of the conversation with some of the folks actually opened up my mind. So I was about to buy a car at that time, and I realized like, oh wait, like I think invest on your own because I think the car is like a depreciating asset. So I use that money to motivate myself to do some or maybe bet on something which even if you fail, like it's fine. And at that point in time, I think with so we were four co-founders. We started a company at that moment called Hit to Wait, and literally at that moment, like have given a zero thought like what we're gonna do if we don't earn anything. So we were sitting at one friend's like one of the co-founders flat, and we were trying to do something, figure out what we can build and so on and so forth. So that's where we iterated really fast, learned things which we were unaware of. For example, like building Android app, iOS app. It was really new. It was sort of a pre-Geo era when smartphones and internet was not that common. I think it was a privilege when someone is having. And that at the same time, I think learning these with very less resources was sort of like very challenging. And that's how I have given a zero second thought what not to. I mean, what will gonna happen if I just don't do this? I think I just did whatever it was coming on my plate. But at the same time, when I was doing a startup, I realized like um, you can end up building tons of features, but building feature is not something that you can go and sell. You really need to figure out like what is your key feature which is actually helping in moving the revenue needle.
Yeah.
And that opened up, and that's where one thought clicked in my head is like what not to build is also important. Just don't answer yes to anything. Don't be a yes man. So I think that's after that. I think when I joined Delivery, those the entire thought process actually helped me fine-tuning what to when some stakeholder asks for something, like just don't go and build things, just fine-tune the thought process of them as well, because they will also get better clarity if you jam with them, and then further what to build is that helped. So that I started doing in Delivery, and um, I think where multiple heads over there, be it like handling the most critical financial system to help people, manage the entire like the Waybill, or I would say like the courier management flow, where the including the first mile, last mile, and the mid mile, and later zoomed in more into the data side of things, and I think, yeah, I think that actually helped me in answering a lot of things, and I learned a lot of things on the fly. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's how I grew myself and evolved over the period of time.
When was the time when, in delivery? Because uh, you mentioned that you joined as a technical architect initially, and just going to that level when you think that this is getting really bigger, this company is getting bigger, and now there will be a lot of people under you. You'll be heading the team. So was it like over the period?
Yeah. So I think honestly, like when I did my own startup, my appetite increased in terms of like what I can do, and I was so confused like what I can do as well. And literally like 2 months I was sitting at home, not doing anything because, and I think like my brain switched off at that moment. I was like in a state where if someone says like do this, I was in a state where I can just go and do that. I was in that phase. I would say like a little bit of depression. At the same time, I think one of my friend actually asked me like, why don't you just apply in delivery? I just went over there and applied, and they hired me as like a technical architect. And from there, I think I never looked back in terms of what can I do. I think whatever I was doing, I thought like, okay, this after doing this, what next? So the appetite was really more in terms of like doing what can I do, and that helped me in grooming and delivery very quickly, from technical architect to director and senior director. I think honestly, like the 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 definition is just a proxy, like what you're doing. But I was even surprised when my founder actually announced in public that you've been promoted, and I was like, oh man, like I never expected that. So that was a surprise and shock, and people told me like, okay, some announcement has been made, and why don't you just go and check it out? That's where I realized like, um, I think things gets realized, recognized by your stakeholders. They know that okay, what you're doing and what type of impact that you're creating, and I think designation is something which is just a proxy of your achievement. But I think the work lies in your core day-to-day things that you do, and that helps in you building as a person, like helps in building you as a good person in terms of whether what can you do and what you can't do, because that will help in bringing more clarity and focus going forward. So yeah, I think that's the phase I enjoyed the most.
That's really great, and I'm sure you would have gone through a lot of hard work and uh, when you covered it in such less time, but I know how much grind you would have done to actually make it work. And when people see so much potential in you, right, that obviously comes from a lot of like thousand times you would have proven how great you are, like even your contribution there, right? So, what were those major, let's say, milestone or contributions that you made? Because delivery is the biggest logistics platform right now, and this has been possible because of obviously people like you in the company who have developed the tech or the delivery and like basically all the departments there. So what were the like biggest things that actually made delivery what it is today?
When I was in delivery, so I realized like how delivery is growing was like so fast, that you whatever the decision that you are making at this moment, you need to ensure that at least it should last long enough, at least 2 to 3 years, so that you don't end up into a cycle where you just keep changing things, because that actually comes with a cost. And when you actually trying to solve, I think it's better to take a step back, because scale problems are not so easy to solve. Um, so first and foremost thing was like to understand like the pace. At the same time, like whatever you are planning to invest, and that's where I took some decisions. We were relying on some of the AWS stack at that moment, and Kafka was new to the. I'm just talking about like 2018 sort of. And we thought of like investing into a better message queuing system, like Kafka or something, and uh, and even today, like it's still there. Uh, why? Because the investment that we made also helped in influencing the AWS roadmap in terms of like providing a managed service around that. And today, like I think it's been used very often. Like I think all of the cloud providers are providing. I'm not saying like it's been influenced by us only, but I think they definitely gather more data points. But what I'm trying to say is like whatever the decision that you are taking at this moment, you need to ensure that okay, it should not change very quickly, at least in 2 to 3 years. It should, because that's where you get the ROI of the investment that you have made. only after 1.5 years or maybe 2 years sort of. So you need to ensure that, okay, the cost is actually justified, whatever the investment you are making. And I think those sort of bets actually helped. Uh, and the second, I think, the second bet that we made is on the data degradation part, where where I think everyone was asking a lot of questions about how many shipments were delivered. Even like a person who was working on ground, they were also trying to understand like how their performance is all about at the ground. How many shipments they have delivered, or maybe how many shipments they are going to pick up going forward. And providing those real-time insights was super crucial. Uh, and serving those insights to that level and building systems around, building the platform around that, I think that was a key investment. We did some pivots as well in between, but finally, what we landed, I think that particular piece of technology is still being used. Even like it's been, I think, 3 years, 3 to 4 years since I left delivery, but I think the good part is still being used. So that's something which I'm really proud of, and things are working. And yeah, I think that's the kind of investment I always cherish. And
Yeah, because right now, when we see such numbers like, delivery doing more than 1 billion USD of revenue, has employed more than 65,000 employees. I think all these big stories come from the foundation level pay who's working, right? Who's someone who is building such systems. When you said you are building things for the long term, how important that is, because such companies cannot afford to change their base infra every month
exactly.
or so, right? And
Correct.
you said it costs a lot. So, what are some of these things that people at this level should keep in mind, and specifically founders who are even starting such logistics company? I know few founders who are building some great logistics company along with tech in it. Obviously there has to be a platform to make things easier for everyone. So what are the things that they need to keep in mind, maybe in the year one, and then two, some foundational systems that they should definitely think about on how they want to manage, like things like Kafka and all. When does that play a good role in that?
I would say like there are multiple phases. The phase one, or which is like a 0 to 1 journey, I think it's more about proving the value of the product. And at that point in time, I think the key important thing is like you deliver the value. Uh, don't worry about systems and everything, because those can further be evolved once you actually hit that scale. But when the scale is not a problem, I think the best bet is to pick anything, just build and ship, and see like if there's enough value out there, and accordingly keep changing the roadmap based on the customer feedbacks. The second phase, or which is like a 1 to 100 sort of a journey, is where I think when you start seeing some patterns where what is actually working out and what is actually not working out. And when you want to capitalize on what is actually working out, you start thinking about a scale, the usage, and at that point in time, I think it's important to do some sort of investment which actually can last at least 1 to 2 years, not at least 3 4 years, because sometimes we end up doing over engineering. At that point in time, I think we realize like whatever the investment we have made, it's not able to deliver the ROI. So why I'm saying like 1 to 2 years, because you know that how much investment you are going to make and when you're gonna do the break even of that investment. Because engineering in any of the organization, I think is the entire engineering itself is like an investment by the company, because
Yeah.
it's really difficult to get money out of from engineering. So, so I think you need to realize like what exactly the cost is, and 1 to 2 years is a good time when if you can do a break even in 6 months or so, right? So do target a short term, goal for that. But once you reach from 100 to 1,000, sort of like a phase where you are just expanding and that's where you need to scale really fast and rapidly. At that point in time, I think any bet that you are making in terms of introducing any message queue system or something like that, right? uh, be sure of like what you are going to invest, because changing that later, as you mentioned earlier, it's going to be super costly exercise, and sometimes people or maybe the companies fail even during that phase, because you end up spending a lot. So realize in which state you are in, and pick up any phase like phase one, phase two, phase three, and double down on that.
Yeah. And how do you right now see AI changing the ways how people used to build, and now how it has changed how people are building these platforms?
Okay, yeah. I think one, I think concern everyone has is like what AI is going to do. Can AI eat our job or something like that? I think one thing which people learn to live with is like learn to live with AI. You whatever it takes, like whether you are an engineer, product manager, or be a part of a GTM team, I think you should know that what AI can do. And trust me, like AI, what AI can do is like super easy because you can talk in a very natural language and it can help in answer those. Um, so that is one, which is like more about the familiarity of the around Gen AI. The second thing I think, which people have started using more often AI is like one is for us and one for the company wherever you are working. When I say
Yeah.
one for us or like a team is more about improving your productivity. And personally, like in last 2 years, I used AI like anything, be it like vibe coding, be it like planning things out, or even like if I need to plan my trip or something like that, I'm using AI like anything. Sometimes I use AI to brainstorm some ideas. So so you define like like the persona of AI and then start talking to it. Uh, but you the most important thing is like in some or other way, I think it'll improve your productivity. It'll also improve your decision making. But don't use AI for something like what should I do or what should I can, because that will impact your cognitive skills. So so you should be very cautious about like how you can use AI and in a much more efficient way without compromising your cognitive skills. Um, so that's about like how you can use AI for yourself. The third is actually about your, I think the using AI for wherever you are in the company, and can it improve your product experience or something like that. And that over there as well, like I think people sometimes use it for developing some AI related feature or something like that, but you should know that AI comes with a cost. Um, Whatever the thing which you are doing, like be clear about like if you're experimenting, uh, then like, run the experiment. If it's fail, it's fine. If it succeeds, it's great. But if it fails, like you get a lot of learnings to further figure out like how you can further leverage AI in a much more efficient way. But just don't keep running it for a long, because um, it actually impacts the experience of a user who's actually using it sometimes. And if they're not getting value, I think they probably leave the platform and start using something else. So just don't hang with some like any AI feature that you're developing, but at the same time keep improving. And I think that's how you can learn to live with AI overall. And uh, yeah, I think keep influencing others who are not into it. I think that's also another thing which everyone should do.
Yeah. And so one is definitely adapting to AI and obviously using it to just increase, amount of value that you're already able to deliver. But another side of things which I have started seeing, because I talk to a lot of techies as well. So, so they always come and they say now they have started, coming across such people who would say, we do not need a senior techie because right now we have such platforms where we can just, if I'm thinking of an app, I'll just build it on that without. So they do not have knowledge of how it is built, how AI is doing it, but they just know that they can do anything with it without having knowledge about it.
I would answer in a way where uh, if assume like if there is a question and if there is an answer, definitely you can answer. But to ask another follow-up question, it's an art. So you cannot just, if it is very transactional, I think you can do it. But if you really into it, I think you can even do follow-ups around that. Um, like I think the conversation that you and me are doing, I think it can we like you are doing follow-ups as well around that. Uh, Definitely I can also do, but what I'm trying to say is like I think uh, you can only do when you know how to use it. So assume like if I start doing in which I'm not experienced with doing such podcast, I maybe stop asking after some time, even if I start using AI. And I don't know what to ask after that. So you need to know that okay, whatever you are actually leveraging for, it's actually you are you into it or not, first of all. And if you are into it, I think then automatically things will uh, follow up after that. So that's something which even if you feel like okay, if you don't know coding and if you try to code, um, figure out like what is actually the coding, right? Why you actually need to do code. Uh, so so I think that will open up the mind and definitely like I think the time to learn and do some coding, I think that actually has reduced drastically after Gen AI.
Yeah.
But I think it's not something like a replacement because someone who's thinking day in and day out around that uh, is a better person to go and solve that rather than uh, you learn and then do it. Definitely, you need time to learn as well then. But uh, and I think like a lot of people are doing it, which are really all rounders. And huge respect to them because nowadays I think the solopreneurs are rising, and I think the credit goes to AI a lot in that because that will help in building single person company as well. So I think that will continue. But I would still say like those are exceptions. Um, it's going to get normalized maybe after 5 years or 6 years.
Yeah. And so in your current work and your current product, UniCode, how AI is changing things and how you actually started and how now AI has changed into what you're offering.
Yeah, I think when I joined Unicode, I was like clear about like first I need to learn to live with AI, and I actually have to tell everyone like how you can leverage AI as well. So first thing which we started in Unicode is like um whatever the developer productivity tools like Open Hands, RuCode, Cursor, and such type of tools, like we introduced like anything and asked developers and engineers or product managers to start using it. I think credit goes to founders who actually supported this idea as well. And I think that actually changed the momentum of like how we are building things and how we're shipping really real value products out to the market, and I think that actually helped. So first is like penetration of AI within the company itself. I think we did really well in Unicode. And the second thing is about using AI into product so that our customers can leverage and improve. And what Unicode has which is an advantage which Unicode has is like uh, as I told you in the beginning, like people use QR codes to transition from a physical to a digital world.
Yeah.
So it's like an entry point for anyone. Even if they really want to use AI, I think QR code is a medium. So I think that's where I think tying QR into the customer workflows is a key important thing, and that's what I think we are forcing. So today, like even we help customers to choose the better QR code type which they can use for their problem statement. So they simply just share the intent and we help in choosing what type of QR code is relevant. Sometimes we help in creating QR code for themselves as well, which is more sort of a agentic or a corporate experience.
Yeah.
And we keep thinking about like what to build around AI. Just don't spread AI like anything here and there, but it's more about where it actually matters the most. So decide and let's keep delivering those things to customers.
Yeah. And since you are at the forefront of the most advanced tech, whatever is going on, because I have seen you working on the most advanced one, be it AI or even things like Kafka or the new tech, whatever is coming up, you don't shy away from trying it or experimenting with it. So how do you think the landscape is gonna change for all the startups in India with AI in place now?
Especially like the hiring process will change for these startups when so assume like if uh, someone is getting hired in a company, the person who's actually having more number of agents which they have, like when I say agents, I would say, for example, an engineer who's having their coding agent, debug agent, and everything that sort of, which is fine-tuned for a specific need or the way of work they have, and can quickly solve those things. I think that's where like those sort of people will get hired the most. So that's something which is going to change. So one person is going to do multiple things with their own set of agents, which can work at autonomously in silos even to do those things. And that will actually power the agent economy as such, to so that the agents can talk to other agents and so on and so forth, to further brainstorm and to like refine the ideas. The second thing I think the startups are actually I mean more focused upon is like they ju- or I would say like they should be cautious as well. Is like just don't use AI like anything. Like pick any AI. If you feel like okay, this is a great thing, just don't just do it.
Yeah.
First, I think answer what is actually going to solve for a customer. So where a customer head and how that AI experience is going to help them and figure out, I think, those things. Um, so I think that's something which startups should think about when they are thinking about it. Uh, so, so I think in spite of when someone said great power comes with great responsibility. So I think it's a time about great responsibility. So because anyone can use the power and customize it for their own needs. But you should be very responsible in terms of like what actually you are delivering to to your customers is a key.
That's, I think you have put it in a very right way where now when people have so many options of AI for content to marketing to sales, like for everything right now they have AIs, but just to use it wisely in a manner that actually helps us do more with what we have right now, it makes a lot of sense. And interesting. I would love to understand what are you, right now planning? What's your vision like with right now you have all the AI and you have such good vision with UniQode. So what are you planning to do next?
I think the best thing that we do is like we plan quarterly in Unicode and so that at least whatever the we are going to focus, I think we should deliver the outcome around that. So one thing which is like the next quarter, which is like the quarter has already started. I think it's a day third, the quarter. So uh, this is going to be really execution focused because whatever the foundations that we were actually planning to introduce around platformizing AI, I think that's been done. So now building things on top of it, helping customers to tie up in their workflows, and improving their decision making as well as our decision making. So this platform is going to get used both by our customers and by us as well. So I think that's the key focus that we have. Um, so it's nothing flashy. I think it's more solid foundations and the meaningful impact is the key theme for the Q1.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because uh, at certain level, we don't really see the bigger part of it, but when it actually comes out and when we actually get to see so many use cases coming up every day, right? Such new use cases that it sometimes surprises us on how it can be used. Right. So, one thing that I also wanted to talk to you about is so a lot of founders, and mostly in case of non-tech founders, I've seen that they might have some rules in the company that the employees should not be using AI to, sort of, they sort of see this as a cheat, that whatever work is being given to them, then what are you doing if everything AI is doing? So, what do you have to say about that?
I'll take a calculator analogy here. I think when the calculator was there, right? People were tend to say that okay, don't use calculator. Do some computation in your head or and in exams like calculators were not allowed at all. I'm just talking about I think 90s or maybe early 2000. I think after that I in every exam I think the calculators were allowed. So
Yeah.
by the time I did my engineering, I think calculators were very common. People can use. So it got normalized to an extent. However, there were still few exams where you were not allowed. So that is still okay. Because if you are trying to test the the person's ability, I think it's fine. That's where you should not allow. But if you're not trying to test the person's ability and if you are focused more on the outcome, I think it is as simple as that. I think uh, use calculator or like use AI. I mean, um, and over there, like if you are concerned about security and those sort of things, I think nowadays you can run your own model, um, host it at some place where you can privatize so that it doesn't leak to the external world or it's not going to get reused by any open models which are out there. So I think there are ways to solve that problem, but I think normalize AI as much as you can, unless uh, if it's being used for like some where you really want to test the person's ability, and there you don't you should not the person should not use AI. I think there it makes sense, but I don't think so. Anything else apart from that, where you should not use AI.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And so one thing when you said, and I would like to talk about it because I feel failures are the biggest part of anyone's journey, because if that did not happen, then maybe the success part also never would have happened. So when you said, you were in a state after the failure of your startup before delivery, what actually gave you courage to just get up and still try on getting on the track?
I think tough phase it was. Honestly, I couldn't recall all the moments, but I think the one thing which always have in my head is like be open to anything. So, so what I mean by that is like, uh, the more you adaptable to the situation, I think, the better your chance of doing anything, irrespective of like whether that particular specific domain is being dominated by a specific skill set or like a tool. What I mean by that is like, uh, when I left my startup, I was literally having a negative bank balance, and I was sitting at home, was not even having a thought of like I should go and apply for a job. Uh, but given that like I was having connect with people, so I connected with few of my friends. They helped me. Oh, you can apply here. You can do this and that. Uh, if that wouldn't have happened, if I was not having that sort of a connect with the people, I think I would have been doing something else. But you don't know what exactly you need at that moment. So um, if you are adaptable, if you are easy to work with, I think uh, you or yourself or maybe someone else will help you out with that. Uh, and I think that's something which I always keep, and always like that's something which I learned, that um, it's easier to it's actually uh, difficult to make friends, but easier to make enemies.
Absolutely. And I feel such friends, they at at the point when we are at the lowest or highest, having such friends are really important. I mean, it is difficult to for a lot of people to, go out, talk to people, but I think having such friends just changes everything. They motivate you at the places where you need to get on track and get on to work, or maybe need to rectify a few bad decisions. So we all need such good friends.
Yeah.
Great. So um, our next question is, I would ask you, what was the biggest pivot point in your life that changed everything forever in a sort of good way?
I think the biggest pivot point was, I think when I started my company. I mean, the founded company with other three the people. Uh, I think it was a mind opener for me in terms of uh, what this world is all about. How, I mean, there are so many problem statements which are here and there, and you can pick anything and you can solve as well. Um, and you should be super, like you should be very open to, to just take a stab at it, like in terms of at least once in your career. Um, if you're really motivated by solving, in solving those problems. So our problem was very simple, like in terms of like solving a queue management problem, where if you are going to a doctor, usually like instead of taking an appointment, why can't you just, get in line directly from the app itself? And when your turn comes, we'll ensure that once you reach over there, we'll get it like, get in and get your things done quickly, rather than waiting at the doctor premise and still waiting for your turn to come. So that simple problem statement actually opened up. So we were thinking about initially. First, we started with the restaurants where, like, if people are actually planning for a party or something, they were not finding enough seats or the tables for their group, and we were actually helping them to find them. Later, we realized like this problem is not limited to restaurants. It can even go into the doctor domain, even into a service center, and to other domains. And when we realized the potential, uh, I think that blew us away in terms of like what we can do. First thing I think is should not restrict your learning. Uh, Keep unfolding. The more you unfold, I think the better the direction you will get. the same time, like, just don't do everything. Figure out where actually things are working out for you and try to understand like why it is actually working out, and then further build things around it. Um, which is like the more into the GTM part of it.
Yeah.
Uh, and once you are into it, I think that's something which I think that always so these learnings I always carry along wherever I'm going, and that actually changed my thought process. I think um, so I think you'll get motivated by the business in which whatever company you are in, and whatever the problem that you are solving, I think you will be super motivated in solving those then.
That was all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you need specific answers to your questions, do write to me, or if you are building something interesting, anything related to tech and non tech, I would be happy to connect. Thank you so much.